A pleasant day, everyone. Me and my team, we are going to discuss about the Module 7, which is the criteria for curriculum assessment. Before I begin, let me introduce myself first. My name is Nurhaya Dimasangkay Basser, one of the reporter for today's lesson. Criteria for curriculum assessment defined. What is criteria? Criteria are sets of standards upon which the different elements of the curriculum are being tested. They determine the different levels of competencies or proficiency of acceptable task performance. Ito ay ginagamit and requirements para sa isang judgment, evaluation, or any selection based. For instance, the criteria for the reporting activity. The next is criteria for goals and objectives. Goals and objectives are statements of curricular expectations, are sets of learning outcomes specifically designed for students. A goal is an achievable outcome na kung saan ito ay may malawak at mahabang proseso. The objectives, on the other hand, is a shorter term and it defines measurable actions to achieve an overall goal. Objectives indicate clearly what the students will learn after instruction has taken place. Objectives is a goal or something to aim for. An example of objectives is a list of things to accomplish after the lesson, and it can be located at the first part of our lesson plan. Goals and objectives are formulated and specified for the following purposes. Letter A, to have focus on curriculum and instruction which give direction to where students need to go. Ang mga teacher ay dapat nakabase lang doon sa curriculum and instruction ng kanilang school for the learning of the students. The next is letter B, to meet the requirements specified in the policies and standards of curriculum instruction. Ang mga teacher ay mayroong kani-kanyang strategies and techniques para ma-meet nila yung specified requirements and standard curriculum instruction. The next is letter C, to provide the students the best possible education and describe the students' level of performance. Teachers should provide what students need to learn and they should know the level of performance of their students. The next is letter D, to monitor the progress of students based on the goal set, to motivate the students to learn and the teachers to be able to feel a sense of competence when goals are attained. Ang mga teacher ay gumagamit ng standardized tests such as quizzes, exams, and assignments, oral recitation, and observation to monitor students' progress. The next is criteria for goals and objectives. For goals and objectives to be formulated, criteria on certain elements should be included according to Howell and Knowlett in year 2000. Number 1 is content. From the objectives, what content should students learn? So, dapat ang content ng ating lesson plan is connected doon sa ginawa nating objectives. Number 2 is behavior. What will students do to indicate that they have learned? So, kailangan ang mga students is kaya nilang i-carry out yung natutunan nila from the lesson and dapat matataas yung score nila sa test to prove that they have learned. Number 3 is criterion. What level of performance should the students have to master the behavior? So, criterion is connected to behavior. Criterion or criteria is ito yung ginagamit ng mga teacher to know the level of performance ng kanilang students. The last one is condition. Under what circumstances should the students work in order to master that behavior? So, the students should listen, learn, and act in order to master the said behavior. Writing effective goals and objectives should also use the following general criteria. Number one, are the general objectives syntactically correct? Syntactic correctness, see if it has all its parts. Teachers need to include logically the elements, content, behavior, criteria, and conditions. Matatawag na syntactically correct ang iyong ginawang goals and objectives kapag napapaloob dito yung four elements, which is the content, behavior, criteria, and conditions. Number two, do the objectives comply with the legal requirements of the School of Subjects? Compliance with legal requirements. There should be a direct relationship between the annual goals and the students' present levels of educational performance. Short-term instructional objectives should be clearly defined so that it is obvious how we would measure to see if the objectives are met. The annual goals should describe what the learners can reasonably be expected to accomplish within a given amount of time. So, kailangan specific and measurable yung ating ginawang objectives para madali na lang matrack kung na-attain ba yung learning outcomes ng ating lesson. Number 3, do the objectives address both knowledge and behavior? Both knowledge and behavior are addressed. The confusion between knowledge and behavior. Although it is knowledge that we are most often trying to transmit, we need to see behavior to know if we have succeeded. So after the lesson, kailangan natin gumamit ng test such as quizzes, exams, assignments, oral recitation, and etc. para malaman natin kung may natutunan ba ang mga estudyante. Number 4, do the objectives pass the stranger test? The stranger test. Goals and instructional objectives must be measurable so that their status can be monitored. The simplest way to judge if a goal or objective can be reliably measured is to apply the stranger test. So, dapat ang goals and objectives ng ating lesson plan ay measurable and it can passes the stranger test if the behavior is defined using objective. Number 5, though they pass the so what test, the so what test or validity because the purpose of education is to prepare people to be socially competent. The so what test asks whether the goals and instructional objectives are important. Sa paggawa ng effective goals and objectives, dapat ito ay valid or fact. Kasi, what is the point of teaching kung invalid ang iyong mga itinuturo sa mga bata, di ba? Number 6, are the objectives aligned? Individualization, appropriate goals, and instructional objectives are derived from assessment data. They must be aligned with the student's present level of educational performance and students' goals. Dapat ang ating gagawin na goals and objectives ay suitable for the present level of educational objectives and goals ng mga estudyante for the better learning outcomes. Number 7, do they make common sense? Common sense instructional objectives don't have to fit into one sentence and trying to make them do so can be very confusing. Objectives tell what the students will learn, not descriptions of what the students will follow to learn. Dapat, ang nilalaman ng ating objectives is kung ano lang yung specific na matutunan ng mga estudyante after the lesson.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Diesel Queen Iscarol. My topic is all about criteria for assessment of instruction. Instructions refers to the implementation of the objectives. It is concerned with the methodologies and strategies of teaching. Instruction, tinutukoy dito ang pamamaraan sa ating pagtuturo. Example, sa paggawa natin ng lesson plan, magkakaroon muna tayo ng implementation or plano kung paano natin gawin para magkaroon tayo ng goal or objectives at makabuo tayo ng strategies kung paano natin siya gawin or ituro. The two approaches to instruction. First, supplantive approach, referred to as direct instruction. The teacher attempts to promote learning by providing explicit direction and explanation regarding how to do a task. Direktang nagbibigay ng mas malinaw na paliwanag ang guro sa kung paano gawin ang kanyang binibigay na task. The teacher assumes primary responsibility for linking new information with the student's prior knowledge and ultimately whatever the student learned. Dito, nagkakaroon ng feedback ang guro at ang estudyante. Nagbibigay ng new information ang isang guro at nagtatanong naman siya sa estudyante sa mga nalalaman nito. Information is presented in an ordered sequence in which component subskills are taught directly or a foundation for later tasks. Sinasaayos ng guro sa pagkasunod-sunod na pagtuturo para mas malinaw ang pagkakaintindi ng estudyante para kung magkakaroon ng isang pagsusulit ay mas lalong maiintindihan nila ito. Generative approach, referred to as constructivist or developmental. Constructivist means based on the idea that people actively construct to make their own knowledge. The teacher functions as a facilitator who takes a less central role in the learning process that is student-directed. The teacher becomes the facilitator. Kaya tinatawag na facilitator, they encourage the learner to interact. The teacher provides opportunities for the student to make own linkage to prior knowledge and to devise her own strategies for work. Hinayaan ng guro na iugnay ang mga estudyante ang mga nalalaman nila sa kanilang ginagawa para mas mapakita nila ang kanilang strategy kung paano nila ito gawin. It is constructivist because much of its emphasis is on helping students to construct their own educational goals and experience as well as the knowledge that result. So, kaya tinatawag siyang constructivist kasi na-experience ng isang estudyante na magkaroon ng paraan kung paano at ano ang gawin niya or goals at nakikita niya ang result ng kanyang plano sa kanyang ginagawa with the help of their teacher. Information is presented and schedule determined by student interest and goal. Dito, naipapakita ng isang estudyante ang kanyang gusto or plano sa pamamagitan ng mga gagawin. Sub-skills may not be taught explicitly. Prerequisites for more complex information are expected to be learned as a consequence of the larger understanding student would be guided to. Skills may not be taught explicitly. Prerequisite for more complex information are expected to be learned as a consequence of the larger understanding student would be guided to construct. These sub-skills is kailangan ituturo ng paunti-unti para mas maintindihan ng estudyante at kailangan ang estudyante ay always guided kung ano ang gagawin.
What are curriculum criteria? Curriculum criteria are guidelines and standard for curriculum decision making. The objectives of curriculum or teaching plan are the most important curriculum criteria since they should be used in selecting learning experiences and in evaluating learning achievement. The criteria are stated in the form of question as follows. Number 1. Have the goals of the curriculum or teaching plan been clearly stated? And are they used by teachers and students in choosing content, materials, and activities for learning? Of course, it's used by the teachers and students in selecting materials and activities for learning. They have planned to stated clearly the curriculum criteria. Number 2, have teachers and students engage in student-teacher planning and defining the goals and in determining how they will be implemented. Yes, because they need to be aware of what will be implemented. Number 3, do some of the plan goals related to the society or the community in which the curriculum will be implemented or the teaching will be done. Of course, because it's important to know the standard of curriculum criteria. Number 4,
Do some of the planned goals related to the individual learner and his or her needs, purposes, interests, and abilities? Of course, some of the planned goals is related in individual learners. Number 5, are the planned goals used in a criteria in selecting and developing learning materials for instruction? Yes. Number 6, are the planned goals used as criteria in evaluating learning achievement and in the further planning of learning sub-goals and activities? The planned goals is one of the criteria in evaluating. According to Haas and Parkay 1993, individual differences, flexibility, and systematic planning are criteria that depend in part on knowledge of the different approaches to learning. The criterion are as follows. Does the curriculum or teaching plan include alternative approaches and alternative activities for learning? Of course, including alternative approach and alternative activities. Have the different learning theories has been considered in planning alternative activities for learning? Yes, it is considered. Has the significance of rewarded responses, transfer generalizations, advanced organizers, self-concept, meaningfulness of the whole, personal meaning, imitation, identification, and socialization been considered in the following? Yes, because we have different approaches to learn.
Good day, everyone. This is the continuation report of Norain Kasan. Our topic is the criteria for curriculum assessment. By the way, I am Umayra Ugas Sevilla, your reporter today. So today I'm going to discuss what are marks of a good curriculum. Some marks of a good curriculum which may be used as criteria for evaluation purposes given by G. Galen Saylor. So, these marks of a good curriculum given by G. Galen Saylor. Number 1, a good curriculum is systematically planned and evaluated. Yes, curriculum is systematically planned and evaluated. A teacher is a curriculum maker. He or she writes a curriculum daily through a lesson plan, unit plan, or yearly plan. The teachers addresses the goals, need, interests of learners by creating experience from where the students can learn. A definite organization is responsible for coordinating and planning evaluations. Yes, those authority organizations should be responsible for coordinating their planning and also when it comes for evaluating. Next, step in planning. Evaluation are logically defined and taken. Yes, curriculum is undergo in logical planning and evaluate by those maker. And last, ways of working utilize the contribution of all concerns. With regards to curriculum, teachers should be utilized of all concern or issues to connect the learning of learner. So next, number 2, a good curriculum reflects adequately the aims of the school. The faculty has defined comprehensive educational aims. Yes, curriculum should to the aim of school because Curriculum is an effective guide that provides to teachers, students, administrators, and community for delivering a quality of education. The scope of the curriculum include areas related to all stated aims. Yes, the scope of curriculum aims should include to all areas. Next, each curriculum opportunity is planned with reference to one or more aims. In making curriculum, the curriculum should be planned with reference of aims. Next, in planning curriculum opportunities from year to year and each area, teacher consider the total scope of aims. Teacher should be consider the total of aims of curriculum should she can't use any materials or methodologies contrary to the school policy. Next, number 3, a good curriculum maintains balance among all aims of the school. The curriculum give attention to each aim commensurate with its importance. Curriculum also indicate the importance aims which should be developed of learners. Next, a total plan of curriculums, opportunities, and basic areas, school activities, and special interests reflects carefully planning with respect to all aims. So, all opportunities or activities circumstance in school should be reflects of all aims and curriculum and it should respecting of school. Next, guidance of each individual helps provide him with a program which is well balanced in terms of his needs and capacities. So, a good curriculum is a guide or guidance well for each individual, especially for all teachers. Next, the school organization schedules and facilities help in giving appropriate attention to each aim. So, yes, the organization's facilities and schedule should be connected to each aim of curriculum. So, the school organizations classroom activities and schedule are arranged so as to provide a balanced program or varied learning activities. Yes, the school or classroom schedules should be already arranged to provide balanced program with. Next, a good curriculum. Number 4, a good curriculum promotes continuity of experience. Yes, curriculum are already arranged and planned for adaptation of modern situation or experience. So, provision are made for the smooth transition and continuing achievements of pupils from one classroom, grade, or school to another. For supplying or any provisions for school necessity should be arranged for smooth transitions and continuing achievement of our learners. Curriculum plan in areas which is extends over the several years are developed vertically. Yes, curriculum vertically developed because Students, their cognitive skills develop gradually higher and higher level of complexity. Next, uh, classroom practice give attention to the maturity in learning problem of each pupil. Teachers can use diagnostic tests to identify his or her students where she can start teaching. Cooperative planning in teaching provide for exchange of information about pupils' learning experience. Teachers can coordinate with their co-teachers and make exchanging ideas or information planning about their pupil learner experience. Number 5, a good curriculum arranges learning opportunities flexibly for adaptation to particular situation and individual. Yes, our curriculum should flexible for adaptation modern technologies like nowadays we are using varying technologies. So curriculum guides encourage teachers to make their own plans for specific learning situations. Yes, can evolve to make their unique plan to deliver their own teaching. Next, cooperative teaching planning utilize many opportunities as they arise to share learning resources and special talent. And curriculum, cooperative teaching and planning will utilize of schools as their students arise to share their learning and talent. Time allotment and schedule are modified as need justifies. Yes, like nowadays, our schedule and time are modified due to this pandemic. Next, in accordance with their maturity, pupils participate in planning of learning experiences. So, in curriculums, teachers most know her student as pupils to apply his or his teachings, and all his students are able to participate. Next, the selection of learning experience reflects carefully attention to the demands of learning situations. And curriculums, teachers can select topic that reflect to modern situation. So next, number 6, a good curriculum utilizes the most effective learning experience and resources available. So, in good curriculum, teachers can utilize most effective learning experiences of students. Like nowadays, our teachers, their mediums now is using gadget dahil ipinagbabawal na ang face-to-face. So, learning experiences are developed so that pupils see purpose, meaning, and significance in each activity. So, dapat ang itinuturo natin sa mga bata ay may kabuluhan para makita ng mga bata ang kahalagaan ng kanilang natutunan sa eskwelahan. So, next, needed available resources are utilized at that time they are relevant and helpful. So dito, sa gitna ng pagtuturo ng guro, she can utilize any flexible material to make his teachings effective, like using technologies inside the classroom to most achieve his goals or objective. 2. Next, use of the right learning resource of each pupil is encouraged. So here, through the creative of teachers, Students must be encouraged by the using of teachers' unique materials or resources. So next, teachers discriminate wisely between activities which is pupil carry on independently in those in which teachers-pupil interaction is desirable. So, during the middle of the class, teachers can discriminate his or her pupil skills through making activities and teachers interact with them. So next, number 7, a good curriculum makes maximum provisions for the development of each learner. A good curriculum makes maximum provisions in terms of the development of our learners. The program provide a wide range of opportunities for individuals of varying abilities, need, and interests. So, in a good curriculum, it's provide wide range of opportunities for students in terms of their abilities and needs or their interests in their life. Extensive arrangements are made for the educational diagnosis for individual learners. Our curriculum are made from the educational diagnosis of individual learners. Self-directed independent study is encouraged wherever possible and advisable. So, it is encouraged and advisable if the pupils are able to self-learning are much better. Self-motivation and self-evaluations are stimulated and emphasized through the learning opportunities of the school. Yes, if the students has motivation for her in herself, in her life, she can evaluate herself. These students can learn independently and she will be success or achieve his goal. The curriculum promotes individual development rather conformity to some hypothetical standard. Yes, the curriculum focus on or promote students' development rather than to hypothetical standard. The school attempts to follow up each former students both as a service to them and for evaluative data. Yes, kaya nga may alumni ang school to follow up their former students. And I think that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Nara Kanapia and I am the last reporter. What is evaluation? Evaluation it is the process of determining the value of something or the extent to which goals are being achieved. It is the process of making a decision or reaching a conclusion. It involves decision making about students' performance based on information obtained from an assessment process. Evaluation can use kung paano ma-measure ang progress ng isang estudyante at kung paano magturo ang isang guro if naintindihan ba ng estudyante ang iyong pagtuturo or wala. Sa evaluation is nakapaloob din dito yung decision making ng isang estudyante based sa performance nila or paano nila naintindihan ang isang information gamit ang assessment process. Also, evaluation is the process of using information that is collected through assessment. The ultimate purpose of any evaluation process that takes place in schools is to improve students' learning. Through the assessment is makikita mo kung paano naging effective yung pagtuturo mo as a teacher at paano ka naintindihan ng iyong mga estudyante. Also, the purpose of evaluation is can improve the students' learning. Evaluation also entails a reasoning process that is based on influence. Inference is the process of arriving at a logical conclusion from a body of evidence. It usually refers to the process of developing a conclusion on the basis of some phenomenon that is not experienced or observed directly by the person drawing the inference. So the inference is based on reasoning and evidence. Inference can be a personal meaning which is through evidence is makikita mo or ma-observe mo yung isang bagay kung ano ba talaga yung ibig sabihin. For example, there is a ghost in my house based on the evidence that I have seen objective moving on their own. Another example, if someone slams the door, you can infer that she is upset or about something. Assessment is the process of collecting information by reviewing the products of students' work, interviewing, observing, or testing. Through the assessment is madidetermine mo kung na-achieve mo ba yung goal mo or yung objective mo sa isang lesson. And also, based on assessment is makikita mo if naintindihan man ng mga estudyante ang iyong lesson or hindi. What is curriculum evaluation? Curriculum evaluation focuses on determining whether the curriculum as recorded in the master plan has been carried out in the classroom. Curriculum evaluation, it provides means of obtaining information na nagagamit para ma-improve ang iyong pagtuturo. True evaluation is fulfilling its purpose at whether ang estudyante ay natututo. Also, the curriculum evaluation is obtaining information which can improve your course. According to Glass and Wordem, 1997 is the process of obtaining information for judging the worth of an educational program, product, procedure, educational objective of the potential utility of alternative approaches designed to attain specific objectives. Dito naman is paano nila naintindihan ang isang lesson through procedure or analyzing the information at kung na-achieve mo ba ang iyong objectives. Following key questions are usually asked. 1. Are the objectives being addressed? 2. Are the contents being presented in the recommended sequence? 3. Are the students being involved in the suggested instructional experiences? And 4. Are the students reacting to the contents? Formative and summative evaluation. Summative evaluation is an evaluation that takes place at the end of the unit or section of instruction. It takes place at the end of the lesson or projects and tells the evaluator what has happened. It sums up the learning. Summative evaluation is mamimit natin siya at the end of the instruction. Paano mo ma-evaluate ang iyong estudyante? Example ng summative evaluation is sa midterm exam. So, pinagawa mo sila ng final project or portfolio. Formative evaluation take place during the lesson or project and tells the evaluator what is happening. It is ongoing and yields information that can be used to modify the program prior to termination. Howell and Nolet 2000. Ito naman sa formative evaluation is ang process kung saan ang teacher ay meron siyang goal or improving learning na kailangan niyang i-achieve. Example is magdodrawing ka ng concept map sa klase para i-represent yung understanding nila sa iyong topic. Kumbaga pa is sa reflection nila sa iyong topic.